are you doing today? I could tell you today feels like it is going to be a different day when it comes to the crypto ecosystem because multiple Bitcoin spot ETFs have been approved, and I thought it was pretty neat. I don't think nobody really realized this, but January 10th was the same day back in 2009 that the famous Howe family made the tweet saying running Bitcoin. And now, years later, 15 years later, a Bitcoin spot ETF, multiple Bitcoin spot ETFs get approved. I thought that was pretty neat. And yet again, the SEC has lost another battle when it comes to the crypto space. What other battle did they lose, I say? Well, they lost this battle right here with Ripple. Judge Torres deemed XRP not a security last year. And then this year, the SEC rules because of the district courts in Washington made them reevaluate why they were not approving Bitcoin spot ETFs. And now 11 of those have gotten approved. Now, if you don't know what 11 of those Bitcoin spot ETFs got approved, here they are right here. It's Grayscale, ARK and 21 Shares, BlackRock, Fidelity, Franklin Templeton, Bitwise, Hashdex, Invesco, Vanek, Valkyrie, and the Wisdom Tree. Now, it's crazy because, like I've told y'all many times before, right? Now that Bitcoin spot ETFs have been approved, all the asset management firms have to do is just simply remove the name of Bitcoin, right? And put another digital asset in its place. Whether that be XRP, whether it be Ethereum, whether it be Litecoin, we don't know, right? But that's really all that they need to do because they have the framework. That's more than likely the reason why the SEC didn't approve these Bitcoin spot ETFs years ago, right? Because all they literally have to do is replace the name. And then they have to figure out who's going to custody, who's going to perform that custodial duties for those other digital assets. And it's probably going to be Coinbase and the same entities that's custodying, that Bitcoin for the Bitcoin spot ETF. But I just thought that was pretty neat. Now, what's really odd, well, I'm not going to say it's odd because that's just who he is, right? An article from CoinDesk says, "We do not approve or endorse Bitcoin." Gary Gensler said a court forced SEC's hand to approve Bitcoin ETF applications. So, of course you're going to say that. Look, you've been taking this long to approve these ETFs. For what reason? We still don't know that reason. We still don't know. Well, they give the quote of, because Bitcoin, promotes illicit illegal activities, but money promotes that same thing. So you really can't really say that. At this point, Bitcoin has a medium of exchange, store of value, and you can transact with it. That's the same thing you can do with money. And Bitcoin is considered currency and legal tender. So, there's really no reason why Bitcoin spot ETF shouldn't have been approved. But yeah, like I said, this feels different. I'm actually going to read this to y'all because this here by Cointelegraph says the SEC bent rules for spot Bitcoin ETF approvals. The SEC Commissioner Mark Udy cited strong concerns with three aspects of the spot Bitcoin ETF approval order. Soon after the United States Securities and Exchange Commission, SEC approved the applications of several fund managers to list spot Bitcoin ETF. The commissioner published a statement revealing strong concerns with three aspects. Let me see. It says the flawed reasoning in the spot Bitcoin approval order could reverberate for years to come. And yeah, it most definitely will reverberate for years to come because, like I've been saying, even though this is new territory for Bitcoin, it's not new territory for what previous ETFs have done, right? For example, let's take, you already know what I'm going to do, gold. The gold ETF has transformed for about 10 years, if not longer. The first ETF for gold was about 2003, I believe. And yep, in 2003, on March 28th, 2003, the first gold-backed ETF developed by ETF Securities was launched. It trades on the Australian Stock Exchange as ETFs physical gold, with assets under management of about 602 million. So here's the thing: gold actually, from 2003 to 2000 and I think it was 11, gold went up 250%. And if you do the math, if you believe that that's the same trajectory that Bitcoin is going to do, 250% from 2003 to 2011, that's good for a gold-backed commodity. Gold is scarce, right? Bitcoin is even scarce, right? There's 21 million Bitcoin, right? 21 million, and that's it. And if you do the numbers, right, 18 million of those have already been mined. Some of those have been lost, so you can't get those back. What do you think the numbers are going to do right now? I mean, like, we already have Bitcoin coming in at, what is it, about 47K right now, and that doesn't even include the markets being open. So I think either way it goes, that will be a win-win for everybody. I'm not necessarily saying that it's not going to be manipulated, because gold is manipulated. You know, Bitcoin was manipulated back before Wall Street came in. And Wall Street came into me when they created the Bitcoin futures cash settled. So those are, to me, two separate things. But at the same time, I do want to keep an eye out on how the market is going to treat it. If they're going to try to do the same thing as they did for futures, but then something behind me is saying, something inside of me is saying, well, this is going to be different, and Bitcoin is going to be pushed towards that number that everybody believes is going to be. Like, I'm not going to say that number, but I've said previously in my previous videos, if $10 trillion go directly into Bitcoin, then that would make Bitcoin a 70K Bitcoin. If 15 trillion goes directly into Bitcoin, then that would make Bitcoin a $1,050,000 Bitcoin. But that's just my take on it, y'all. Now, since they were so upset about a gold ETF, this is a statement that he said. Now, I thought about reading the whole thing, and why not? I'm going to read the entire thing. Today, the commission approved the listing and trading of number of spot Bitcoin exchange traded products. I have often said that the commission acts within the law and how the courts interpret the law, beginning under Chair Jay Clayton in 2018 and through March 2023. The commission disapproves more than 20 exchange rule filings for spot Bitcoin ETPs. One of those filings, made by Grayscale, contemplate the conversion of the Grayscale Bitcoin Trust ETP and Grayscale Bitcoin Trust into an ETP. That's what started this whole thing. Grayscale said, "Nah, you're not going to do this. We're going to sue you for this. We need this squared away. We've been waiting for years." So we are now faced with a new set of filings similar to those we have disproved in the past. Circumstances, however, have changed. The U.S. Court of Appeals for the District of Columbia held that the commission failed to adequately explain its reasoning in disproving the listing and trading Grayscale's proposed ETP, the Grayscale order. So yes, that is what the SEC is known for. The SEC is known for not adequately telling why they say no. Like, I've always been that person as a man today and as a kid, that if you tell me no, you know, certain things, right? Of course, there's other things where you have to accept no. But there's certain things where if a task is wanting to be done of you and then you do it, right? Whether it be your job, I don't know if you have a job, whoever's listening, there's nothing wrong with the job. But if you have a job, right, and you do something for somebody in that said job, and then they come back and they say no, well, then you want to know why the answer is no, or why they told you what you did was wrong, so that way you could go back and fix it. Well, in this case, the SEC wasn't actually doing that. They were telling people that their projects or their ETFs were being denied without answer, or something was considered a security without answer, and go back and say it's part of the how we test when it's really not. So that's the thing. I was going to read this whole thing, but I'm not. Point blank period, Gary Gensler is upset. Gary Gensler's upset is that someone above him finally came out and said, no, you need to do this right. Either you do this right or you're going to get left behind. And I can guarantee that he didn't want to get left behind because he is waiting for the U.S. Treasury job to have his name on all of our bills, like Rosie Riaz, who's a member of the Ripple employment team. So I think that's very interesting. I think that's very interesting how he's going back and saying our hands were forced. Well, we knew something was up when BlackRock came into the scene because BlackRock has 100% ETF approval rate, right? And if somebody has 100% approval rate, that means they're going to do any and everything that they can to make sure they keep that 100% approval rate. I don't know what that means, but they're going to do what they do. BlackRock is very powerful. And they, from what I've been seeing and from what the ecosystem has been seeing, they're really into Bitcoin and the evolution of Bitcoin. You know, that could go back to hit us. They can go back to slap us in the face later, but we'll see how that turns out. Now, here's a tweet that I thought was very interesting. So, the fact that Gary Gensler keeps pushing and saying that his hands were tied, there were 5 votes yesterday during the iconic day, because yesterday was completely iconic. It was iconic because that was the first day that Bitcoin was ever ran. Tweeted by Hal Finley. But it says here, the voting breakdown, Gary Gensler approved, Hester Pierce approved, Uday approved, Crenshaw not approved, Liz Gray did not approve. That was very interesting because you would think if their hands were tied, there would be some type of unanimous vote. But it didn't seem like there was a unanimous vote. Now, these two are going to probably be called out and say, hey, terms are coming up in June, I think. Is it June? Yeah, terms are coming up in June. I can guarantee you some of these people will be renominated and some will not be. But here as an ecosystem, me being a millennial, I'm paying attention to who's acting on crypto and who's not, because that will determine how everybody else, that may determine how everybody else is votes. Like, I don't want to speak for everybody else, but I'm speaking for myself right now. Like, I'm looking how the economy is going and how the people in the office are treating said economy, especially when it comes to Bitcoin and other digital related assets. But it's going to be very interesting to see what happens. Now, the markets haven't even opened up yet when it comes to a Bitcoin spot ETF. Now, remember, with those Bitcoin spot ETFs, you know, there's Grayscale, there's ARK and 21 shares, there's BlackRock, there's Fidelity, there's Franklin Templeton, there's Bitwise, Hashtag, Invesco, VanEck, Valkyrie, and Wisdom Tree. But one in particular that's really interesting to me, that's actually standing out, and there very well could be more, but this is what stood out to me. Already, BlackRock is up to 23.35% during the pre-market, and the markets have not even opened. Well, around this time, once this video opens, the markets will probably be open, so we will see, you know, what happens. But I think that's very interesting. Everything goes live today. Now, I'm not saying Bitcoin is going to shoot up to go to 150K right now, but what I am saying is that we need to keep an eye out on what's happening in the market, because we could see something. We're going into unprecedented waters, right? We're going into something that we've never seen before, because this is the first time Bitcoin has one ETF, let alone 11. So I thought that was pretty interesting. So we shall see what happens. Moving on. So now that a Bitcoin spot ETF has been approved, there's been words going around saying that Ethereum is next. I don't necessarily think Ethereum's next, but one of the co-founders that created Ethereum actually put his 2 cents on it. So let's hear it out.
Of value, Ethereum is very different. And so the question is, does Ethereum need an ETF in the same way?
Yeah, so Bitcoin can be a store of value or a collateral currency. There are transactional currencies called stablecoins. Many of those are resident on Ethereum. Ethereum is a commodity. We call it a crypto fuel because it powers transactions and storage on the network. And so Ethereum is a platform for building decentralized applications, and decentralized applications represent a new kind of technology, and for a new kind of industry, we need deep, liquid, and broadly accessible financial instruments to enable the industry to operate more effectively, just as agriculture and manufacturing have had for decades.
So he necessarily didn't say if if they need the ETF. Well, actually, he did say that they're going to need ETF. They're in need of deep liquid or liquidity. Well, here's the thing. So, for those that don't know, ETH is the fourth oldest digital asset. Why 4? So you got Bitcoin 1, Litecoin 2, Namecoin 3. I'm sorry. Then you have XRP 4, and then ETH is the 5th. ETH is the fifth oldest digital asset, right? I do know ETH has been around for a very long time. I think it was since 2013 or 2014, one of the two. Bitcoin 2009, Litecoin 2011, Namecoin 2011, XRP, I think it was 2012, and then so forth, right? So those numbers might be a little bit off, but Bitcoin's first, Litecoin second, Namecoin third, XRP fourth, then ETH is fifth. Those orders don't change. But my thing is, everybody's touting that ETH is going to be next, and I know by design it looks like it's going to be next because all of the other firms have an ETH futures, ETH cash settle, and all of that, right? I get it. But it would make sense for Litecoin to be next. And I'm not saying that because, I do like Litecoin, so I guess I'm pretty biased by it. But if somebody's going to go from oldest to newest, that's what it would be. But that's just my take on it. But either way, I do believe that now that those 11 Bitcoin spot ETFs have been approved, a new way has been paved, right? A new way has been paved. So it'll be very exciting to see what ETFs are going to be next, if there's going to be any ETFs next, because we still have to go through the final boss, right? And the final boss is the SEC. So we still got to go through them. But it's still going to be pretty interesting to see who's going to be next. All right, y'all. That'll do it for me. If y'all made it this long, please make sure you smash the likes, hit the subscribe button, and click that notification bell so you'll be notified any and every time I post another video. Look at this market. We are at a 1.8 trillion market. Bitcoin 47,314, Ethereum 2,654. This is really pumping because they believe ETH is next. BNB at 315, Solana at 105, XRP at 61 cents, Cardano at 60 cents, Avalanche at $40.09, Dogecoin at 8 cents, Polkadot at $8.52, Chainlink $15.55, Shiba Inu under penny, Litecoin $73.55, Bitcoin Cash $274.87. All right, y'all, that'll do it for me. Please make sure you hit the like and subscribe button. If you want to get into getting a hardware wallet, please click the link in my bio. I'm an affiliate with Ledger. If you want to ever get into crypto, make sure you click the link in my bio. I'm an affiliate with Uphold. And if you ever want your first ever Bitcoin miner and you're still cold because it's still wintertime, click the link in my bio. It's called Heat Beat. You can mine Bitcoin while your heater is going. All right, y'all. I love and appreciate you all. Please make sure you hit the subscribe button, and I will see you and everybody else on the next one. Peace.